Okay, here we go. Hello and welcome everyone watching here on the Newtown Business Association Facebook Live. It is All Around Newtown, and this is the third installment of All Around Newtown with our guest for today, Dr. Gary Scardino from Scardino Family Chiropractic. And today, joining us on All Around Newtown, he'll be talking about essential steps to strengthen your immune system. Today, he'll be talking about essential steps to strengthen your immune system, and he'll be covering topics such as subluxation, stress, supplements, stretching, and Superman, and a bunch of other topics. So, Dr. Gary, I'll give it over to you, and I'll let you take it away from here. You have a wonderful talk planned for us. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Hey, thanks, Matt, for that introduction, and I'm just so honored and so happy to be here today. It's a great privilege to be, I guess, your third speaker on the new format, and we're just excited to share some great information today with you. So, without further ado, let's get started. Today's topic is things that we could do in order to make ourselves as healthy as possible. I think that hopefully if there's one thing that we've learned in the last 9 months, it's that the healthier we can be, the better off we're going to be. And I think that the current situation that's happening in America, or actually around the world, shines a spotlight specifically on this pandemic, but it goes way beyond that, because it's not just the pandemic that we've got to worry about, it's overall health in general. Because if we look at the statistics, it's the people that are ill that are really doing the worst, and the people that are healthier that are really doing the best. So our goal, your goal should be, to be as healthy as possible, to be as strong as possible, to build your immune system as strong as possible, and to make as many right choices as possible. And, in this way, we're going to know what's happening. We're going to know that we have a better chance of survival. We're going to know that, regardless, we're going to have more energy. We're going to have more vim, more vigor. We're going to be able to enjoy life better. And that's really what the number one reason that we want to take care of ourselves is for, so that we can have a great life. And not just because we're worrying about what's happening in the current situation. And worry is one of the things that we're going to talk about, I think, in a little bit more detail coming up in a little bit. But as Matt said, I am a chiropractor. I'm here in Newtown, Pennsylvania. I have a specialized practice. We take care of a lot of really difficult cases. And it's fibromyalgia, migraines, difficult migraines, and actually have a holistic addiction recovery program. So it kind of seems like this whole situation that's happening right now, it seems like I've been preparing for it my whole life. The things that we think, the things that we find that people need to be as healthy as possible are a lot of the things that we offer here in our office. But there's a lot of other chiropractors in the area. There's a lot of other holistic people in the area. So, if something I say today, excites you and says, I'd like to learn more about that, then feel free to call me and, we could discuss it. And if you, have somebody that you're already going to, or someone you've been thinking about going to, ask them if they can help you as well. So hopefully today will be a good information that you can use here, or you could use anywhere else that you have a resource for good holistic health and recovery. So let's get right down to it. There's a couple of things that you have to start off with right away if you're going to talk about getting healthy and about being healthy. And the number one thing anybody needs in order to be as healthy as possible is a properly functioning nervous system. You really got to start with that base. I've talked to a lot of other practitioners in the area, and you'll have somebody say to you, the digestion is where health starts, and, sleep is where health starts. And there's always these little things that they want to start it from. But realistically, you have to start from the beginning. And if you're going to start from the beginning, it's got to be the nervous system. Is gut health important? Absolutely. Is your gut being maintained and run by your nervous system? Yes, it is. Is sleep health important? Absolutely. But is your sleep hormones and your the way that you sleep and the way that you recuperate during sleep being run by your nervous system? Absolutely. So you have to start with a healthy nervous system. You got to make sure that that's working as efficiently as possible. Listen, the brain and the spinal cord control and coordinate everything that's happening in your body. There's not one thing happening in your body that's not being controlled and coordinated by the brain and the nervous system. I'll give you a couple of seconds to think of something. Shout out in the comments something that's not being controlled by the brain and the nervous system. Well, it's a trick question because everything is being controlled by the brain and the nervous system. You know, you're digesting your food not just because you dropped a couple of chicken nuggets in your stomach. You're digesting your food because as soon as it went into your mouth, the brain started reading it. It started processing and figuring out what's going on, and it's telling the stomach before it even gets there, is this food? Is this poison? Is it a bad poison that's got to come right up right away? Or is it a 3-day poison that's going to just be uncomfortable coming out on the other end? And if it is a food, what do we do with it? Are we digesting it? Are we assimilating? Is there fiber in here? Is there water content? What kind of vitamins are in here? All of that's happening because your nervous system is reading it and looking to see what's going on and what we could do best for it. You know, we talk a lot in my office about Christopher Reeve. If anybody remembers Christopher Reeve, that was Superman, one of the original Supermen, got thrown off of a horse and broke his back. And everything below that break, for all intents and purposes, was dead, right? His legs stopped working. He needed a machine to pump his lungs. He needed a machine to digest his food. So if you break that spine, everything stops. Well, in a chiropractic office like mine and a lot of chiropractors in the area, we call that a subluxation. When the spine is out of alignment, putting pressure on the nerve, it interferes with the way the brain communicates with the rest of the body. It's not a full-on break. It's not a full-on break like Superman, like Christopher Reeve. It's less than a dislocation. And research shows that the weight of a dime is enough to put pressure on the nerve or the spinal cord and interfere with the way it communicates and processes. So just like Superman needed a machine to help him digest, if you have a subluxation that's going to the spine, that's going to your stomach, to your digestion, to your small intestine, well, you're still going to digest, but maybe not as efficiently. Maybe you're going to develop an ulcer. Maybe you're going to have gastric, gastric reflux, or maybe you're just not going to digest all the nutrients and get your full dollar amount out of that organic food that you've been buying. So you got to make sure that that nervous system's working right. Now, the reason why a nervous system wouldn't work right is because of something we call subluxations, misalignments in the spine. And a subluxation is caused by 3 types of stress. And when we really talk about the brunt of this conversation, we're going to talk about how we don't stay healthy, and it's really always going to come down to stress. Physical stress, slips, sprains, strains, falls, little fender bender car accidents, enough to just bump. You know, people think nowadays if they walk away from a car accident and there are no broken bones or blood that they're fine. But cars today are developed to crumble, and all that energy goes into your spine. So if you've been in any type of car accident, you really should talk to somebody who specializes in that. But physical stress, falls, slips, strains, you know, texting all day, sitting at a computer all day, hunched over all day, you know, slipping on ice, falling down the steps and catching yourself, carrying a backpack, carrying a briefcase, carrying a purse, working out at the gym, sleeping in a bed with three dogs, sleeping in a bed with 3 babies, and one's got their foot in your face and the other one's got, you know, one in the ear, and the physical. The next is chemical stress. And chemical stress is drugs, alcohol, prescription drugs, over-the-counter drugs, air pollution, water pollution, radiation in the air. These all have an effect on us. Chemicals, some of them speed us up, some of them slow us down, some of us dull us down. Toxins get, you know, caught up in our muscles, in our fat tissue. We start holding on to it into our body, and it affects the way that we, our organisms, our organs communicate and properly function. And then the last kind of stress, and believe me, the worst of all, is emotional stress. Worried about this pandemic, worried about the job market, worried about the real estate market, worried about my loved ones, worried about my job, worried about the election, worried about my kids in general, worried about my aging parents. Emotional stress. It's out of the 3, it's actually the worst. Have you ever heard people say, I have the weight of the world on my shoulders? You know, I feel it all in here. They hold all that tension, physical, stress is created by emotional stress. So that's the number one thing that you got to know, is you got to make sure that nervous system is working right, and you got to make sure that you're mitigating and handling those stresses properly. Now, the next thing you need to do in order to be as healthy as possible is you need to exercise, right? I'm not reinventing the wheel here. Exercise, as a matter of fact, all the things that are healthy for us are healthy because of many, many, many different reasons, not just one reason. Exercise, you're going to break down old bone and old muscle and rebuild new bone and new muscle. In the United States, we have the highest osteoporosis rates in the world, and we eat more dairy, take more calcium supplements than any other country, it seems. It's because we're not exercising properly. You got to break down those muscles so you could rebuild new muscle. You got to break down the bone so you could rebuild bone. When you exercise, you're going to get oxygen in, oxygen out. When you exercise, the act of breathing in and out is going to make your lymph system move lymph through efficiently and fluidly. When you oxygenate the body, you get oxygen to the brain. If your occiput and your sacrum, which is a bone on the top of the spine and a bone on the bottom of the spine, if they're not stuck, then when you exercise, they pump, and that's how cerebral spinal fluid flows around the brain, feeding, bringing nutrients into the brain and taking toxins out from that blood-brain barrier. So many, many reasons why you want to exercise. And, you know, I'll let you off the hook with this. Obviously, any exercise is going to be good for you. Even if you're walking. I'm a big proponent of walking. You know, walk every day. Every once in a while, run real fast, and every once in a while, lift some weights so you could break down and challenge. But if you can't commit to going to the gym all the time, just commit to walking a little bit more. When we talk about digestion, which we're going to get into next, you know, the next thing you need in order to be as healthy as possible is you got to have proper nutrition. Here in my office, we use standard process for supplements, and we also give guidance on eating better. So, you know, eating better. You guys, listen, we know what it means to eat better. You know what's good for you at this point, I think, to a strong degree. I remember when I explained to my grandmother, you know, that Wonder Bread was not healthy bread, you know, and she was surprised. Oh, but it has all those vitamins and minerals, and, you know, that's what the commercials used to tell us. But I believe nowadays you'd be hard pressed, especially around Newtown, you know, on this video, people that are watching this, we know what's better for us for eating, better choices for eating. So you want to make sure you're eating properly. You want to make sure you're taking the right supplements. You want to make sure that your supplements aren't half fake or full of fillers. You want to make sure that they're whole food supplements like Standard Process uses. You want to make sure that you're eating lots of green leafy vegetables. You want to make sure that you're eating, you know, less chemicals, obviously no chemicals, right? As I mentioned in my office, I have an addiction recovery program. And part of that is food cravings and addiction to sugar. Do you know that in 2013, they did a study at the University of Connecticut that said that Oreo cookies are more addictive than crack cocaine? Oreo cookies are more addictive than crack cocaine. So, you know, we know, if you don't know, you know now, that the industry is working against us to make us eat more of things that are artificial, filled with sugar, you know. So you want to avoid those. You want to cut those out. You want to break that bond that it has with your body, and you want to eat better. You want to drink more water. As a matter of fact, I'd recommend only water. You should really be drinking a lot of water. Like I said earlier, when we do one thing healthy, it's really not just one thing, right? Oh, you should drink water because it hydrates you. I mean, the body is almost all made up of water. The brain is high intensity amount of water. Our eyeballs are floating around in water. When we, you know, when we move our bowels and we urinate, all water to remove toxins, to keep the kidneys flowing. Our blood levels need extra water, you know, filtering through the liver to get rid of toxins. Water, water, water. And if you're not drinking water, you know, I say in my office here, only water is water. I've had patients tell me, oh, I read an article that said that iced tea counts or regular tea counts or coffee counts. Folks, I hate to ruin it for you, but it doesn't. Only water is water. Anything else your body considers as a dirty form of water that it needs to clean, break down, you know, separate, and then pull whatever water it can out of it. So I'm not telling you you got to quit coffee your whole life. I'm not telling you got to quit anything. As a matter of fact, if that's what you're hearing and you're turning your ears off, then please turn them back on. If you want to drink that other stuff, drink the other stuff, but drink more water. It's hard to drink enough water if you're drinking 2 sodas, 3 coffees, and something else during the day. A glass of wine or 2 beers. Where's the time to drink water? So if there's something that you absolutely don't want to give up, then don't give it up yet, but you got to drink more water. And going back to the food as well, if you want to keep eating junk, then keep eating junk, but add in some salads. Here in the office, sometimes we'll do something to call a week of salads, and that means that every meal has a salad. Every meal. So if you're having soup, you put spinach in it, right? If you're having a sandwich, you load a lot of lettuce on top of it, a lot of lettuce. If you want to have a chicken breast or something, then you have it on top of a salad. You want to have hamburger, steak, fish, have it on top of a salad. You want to have a cookie, have it on top of a salad. So you want to have more salad. You want to add, get that stuff in. That's the only thing I'm worried about today right now is not cutting anything out, is just getting more in. So where are we? Properly functioning nervous system. Exercise, challenge the muscles and bones, cardiovascular system, break it down, build it back up, lymph system moving, organ systems, make sure that in our office, we can check you for toxins, heavy metals, parasites, funguses, bacterias, things like that. So, we could check that, or you could go somewhere else and get checked, or you could do a proper cleanse, something like that, and get that stuff removed. And then in our office, we talk about emotional health, so brain chemistry, and we do something called auriculotherapy, non-needle ear acupuncture, and we do that a lot for the addictions, the cravings, the emotional eating, nervousness, anxiety, things like that. And then there's talk therapy and there's coaching. I have a coaching program myself that I teach. We teach classes, but having somebody to talk to, a therapist or a counselor or a friend or a parent or a rabbi or a priest, or like I said, a good friend group, people that aren't judgy. People, just the act of getting things out of your system, of being able to say it out loud, having a safe place to express yourself. I think especially in this day and age, and not to get too much into it, but I think there's a lot of fear that we don't feel that we can express ourselves, that we can say the things that we want to say. And it's good to have a good support group like that, somebody that you could rely on to say things and to get things out of the way. So, those are really the basis of staying as healthy as possible. Absolutely, positively. Those are the things that we want you to be concentrating on right now with the situation that's happening in our world. So, we could talk about supplements right now. Let's talk about that. Vitamin D. Vitamin D is a very essential nutrient, especially right now what's happening with the pandemic. Even Dr. Fauci has said that he takes a high dose of vitamin D. And vitamin D, obviously you can get it from the sun. So we recommend, let's kill a couple of, let's throw some, complete some tasks all at the same time. Go out in the sun and walk around the block, after you eat. Oh, I wanted to mention this. I said I would talk about it. So, one of the best things you could do for yourself is after you finish a meal is walk for 10 minutes. Just 10 minutes, guys. Doesn't have to be 30 minutes. Doesn't have to be 45 minutes. You don't have to put on sneakers, go to the gym, drive over there, get on a treadmill. Just 10 minutes after each meal. It has an effect on the way that your blood sugar is being released, cortisol, insulin. I could go in greater detail, but let's keep it simple. You finish a meal, you take a walk. Go around the block and come back in. You eat lunch at work, walk down the steps, go around the building 2 times, come back in, time yourself 10 minutes. If you can't leave the house, then 10 minutes around, I'll do it in my house. I'll walk around my couch while I'm watching TV for 10 minutes. The research is coming out more and more about the effects that it has on your body when you eat a meal and then you walk around just for 10 minutes. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner, if you could do it, right? Have your breakfast, walk, leave some stuff upstairs before you leave for work. I know a lot of us aren't leaving for work anymore, but we're open and essential. So if you want to come in, we're here, but walk. So after lunch, walk. After dinner, walk. So you'll get some vitamin D if it's sunny out. If you walk with your spouse or your children, put the phone down, stop staring at TikTok. And, now we're getting some social aspect involved. We're getting some vitamin D involved. We're getting some exercise involved. Maybe we can continue a good conversation that we started yesterday, right? 10 minutes of feel-good conversation. In one of my programs, we do this thing called the Rampage of Appreciation. If you want to boost your immune system, one of the greatest things that you could do, not only for success in life, but to boost your immune system, to boost your feel-good, heal-good hormones, is to have gratitude. And I know that what's been happening for the last 9 months around the world and in our country and with the media, no matter how you believe this thing is going on right now, you have to agree that fear sells. And if we could keep you locked up to that commercial, to that news with fear, that's how they do it. So it's hard. I find it's been harder to keep that attitude of gratitude and to really know the benefits of what's happening in our world and in our life and all the great things that we have. And, fear is such a low vibration that it creates disease. Fear affects our organs. Fear affects our breathing. Fear affects our sleeping. Fear affects our digestion. Fear, worry, and anxiety. And these are things that I have a lot of experience with here in the office. But I know that if we're at that level, it's going to be harder for us to be healthy. So we want to do things that are going to raise our vibration. You want to raise your vibration. You want to hang out with people at a higher vibration. You want to be a person who's at a higher vibration. And you want to do things that are going to create a higher vibration in your body. You know what brings a higher vibration is drinking a lot of water, eating good water-filled, fresh, leafy greens, getting adjusted and making sure that your nervous system is working right, doing yoga to make sure that you're in good posture, doing breathing exercises. We'll talk about that in a second. But you got to have that higher vibration. So I talked about just a second ago the Rampage. That's right, Rampage of gratitude. So right now, as soon as my talk is over, I want you to get up from your seat. I want you to stretch, reach for the sky. I want you to bring your fingers out like this. And then I want you to start walking around your house, walking around your office, walking around your gym, wherever you're watching this from, and I want you to have a rampage of appreciation. I want you to list 50 things in your immediate vicinity that you just have so much gratitude for. If your spouse is there, be thankful for your spouse. Even if they're driving you crazy. If your kids are there, be thankful for your kids. Go into the bathroom and turn on the sink and be grateful for running water. Be grateful for the telephone that you could call anybody in the world. Look at your pile of bills, and I want you to look at each bill, and I want you to be grateful. I'm grateful that I have electricity that comes right to my house. I'm grateful I have a telephone and Wi-Fi, and I can watch Netflix. And I'm grateful that I have, a guy that, Matt Peters comes and aerates my lawn and mows my lawn for me. And I'm grateful that Newtown Business Association is doing these great classes that I could jump on and learn on. Gratitude, a rampage of gratitude. I want you to do that. Promise me you're going to do that. Today we're going to drink more water. We're going to eat more vegetables. We're going to stand up straighter. If you don't have a chiropractor, I want you to think about getting a chiropractor. Come see me. Come see one of my colleagues. I adjust by hand. I adjust with an instrument. I adjust with a computer called the Pro Adjuster. If you're looking for a specific technique, you could call me and I'll recommend you. I probably know more chiropractors. I love hanging out with chiropractors. They're my best people. I could recommend people close to you, close to where you work. You're looking for a certain technique. I'm the best at what I do. But if you play for the Eagles and you have a concussion or anxiety, I'm the guy to go to. But if you're looking for a sports chiropractor, I could recommend a great sports chiropractor. You need a concussion chiropractor, I'm your concussion chiropractor. Anxiety, stress, addiction. But there's great people around here that are doing great work in Newtown, in Holland, in Fairless Hills. Great. Listen, Bucks County has so many chiropractors. It's a great place to live. It really is. Go to Tyler State Park, get some sunshine on your face, take a quality vitamin D, If you need more advice on supplements, I could help you with that. The next thing I want to do before I run out of time, and Matt, you give me a heads up when you want to do the breakdown. The next thing I just want to talk about real quick is breathing. We want to do breathing. We want to make sure we're breathing properly, okay? So I'm going to give you a tip right now. When you breathe, put your hand, make believe this is my belly. Put your hand on your belly. When you breathe in, your belly should come out. When you breathe out, your belly should come in. Why? The heart is a pump. It's a muscle. It pumps blood. The lungs are not a pump. The lungs fill with air from the act of you inhaling, and they're like bags, and they fill up, and on the bottom is the diaphragm. And if the diaphragm is in the way, it's not going to fill up properly, and it might fill up wide instead of long. So when you move your belly out, it moves the diaphragm, and the lungs can fill up. And then the diaphragm is the muscle that pushes those bags, those lungs, and pushes all the air out. So put your hand on your stomach right now. Feel your belly. Breathe in deep. Your belly should go out and down a little bit, making room for the diaphragm to fall and the lungs to fill up. And then breathe out. Pull the stomach in, pushes the diaphragm. The diaphragm pushes on the lungs. And get some of that old junky air out. You know, in America, we're shallow breathers. I could do a whole class on breathing. Give me a call. We'll do a class on breathing. Mouth breathing. We don't breathe properly in our sleep. When we get stressed, we skip a beat and we start breathing improperly. We start chest breathing, shallow breathing. You can't breathe deep from the chest because the ribs are in the way. So I want you to put your hand on your stomach every once in a while during the day. I used to tell people when they were leaving the house more often, which we're doing that again, every time you come to a stop sign or a red light, put your hand on your stomach, watch your breathing, and see how you're breathing. Because, you know, if somebody cuts you off on the highway, or one of your kids, you know, does something, or, you know, a toddler falls, or your boss calls you at the last minute, we skip a beat with our breathing. And it flips us from that deep stomach moving breathing to a shallow breath. And you got to be conscious about setting it back. Now, the good news is the more you're conscious about setting it back, the more you'll find that you won't have to set it back, because it lasts longer and longer. So what do we want to do, guys? We want to breathe better. We want to breathe deep. Breathe in through the nose. Hold it. Breathe in for a count of 6. Hold it for a count of 6 and breathe out for a count of 6. That's one way to do it. A good way to do it is to breathe out hard. Really push it out once or twice, not the whole entire time. Hold it. And then breathe it out. Push it out. Nervous system, cardiovascular, musculoskeletal, brain chemistry, organ system and nutrition. Walk more, breathe better, sleep better. We didn't get a chance to talk about sleep. Maybe Matt will invite me back and we could talk about sleep, or you could call me and we could talk about it. My Facebook, Dr. Gary Scardino, Scardino Family Chiropractic. I'm on Facebook, on Instagram, Scardino Family Chiropractic. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram for my coaching classes, Dr. Gary Scardino, Health, Wealth, and Happiness. My website, Scardino Family Chiropractic, or About Thrive, About, ABOUTTHRIVE, aboutthrive.com. And there we have a lot of information about my addiction recovery program. And those are the ways to get in touch with me, 215-860-7275. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to bring it back to Matt. I think we're going to close up. Maybe Matt's got a question or 3. You want to jump on? Hey, there he is.
Yes, yeah. Thank you for doing this and for coming in and recording. And yeah, just to sum it up, that was a great talk that you did there. You know, like you said, you listed all of your contact info there. I just wanted to add in your physical address is 319 South State Street, Newtown, PA 18940. And how many years have you been an NBA member for?
You know what? I've been the longest chiropractor, continuous chiropractor in the NBA. I've been here for 22 years, I believe it is.
Wow. Okay. You got me beat. I've been in the NBA since 2016, so that's excellent. 22 years, so you've seen the NBA for a long time, and you've seen Newtown evolve as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
And
Well,
it's
hey,
been a pleasure.
yeah, thank you again for coming on, Dr. Gary from Scardino Family Chiropractic. And this is all around Newtown next week on August 20 or 8 next week on
October.
next week on October 29th, we have Eric Scott Gold from East Coast Event Group doing If You Want Something Done Right, Give It to Someone Busy. So it will be the same time, 11 a.m. on Thursday on the NBA's Facebook page live. Thank you very much and take care.
Thank you.